You hook up, and then you fail, and then you try again. And then you hook up, and you fail, and you try again. And then you go to the wrong places, and then you talk to the wrong people, and you waste a bunch of your time. Guys, dating in the US sucks. It needs to be said. We have to accept it for what it is. A little bit about myself, I didn't actually find the person that I was meant to settle down with until later in life. I was late to the game. I found my wife at the age of 28. Dating was like a tough space for me, navigating everything growing up. I was always naturally a shy person. It's not like there was anything wrong with me. I'm thankful to say I have a good career. Many have said that overall I'm a decent looking guy. I'm hardworking, I'm kind. I have the traits that any sensible woman would love, I'd hope to believe. But yeah, dating in the US just sucks. And my heart goes out to all the guys that are young out there or even older than me that are struggling to navigate this space. And we take a dive back and look at how much stuff has changed in the past like 10 to 20 years. What men had to go through back then, you can't really make a comparison. It's so different now. Firstly, it's all a numbers game. That's the world we live in today, right? Like numbers, you think of everything. I work in finance, so I might know this better than anybody else, but yeah, stocks, you look at the numbers like performance. Everything is just quantifiable, right? That's the issue with dating. It's all a numbers game. It's all about hookup culture. How many phone numbers can you get? How many people can you put yourself in front of? How many bodies can you get? What's your body count? Why do we have to worry about body count? We didn't have to do so back in the day. This is not something that we need to worry about. But unfortunately, that's, the root of it is that's just like the culture now. It's a lot of people are in it for the hookup culture. And if we're speaking of numbers, here's the deal, fellas. You gotta make that bread. I'm not saying every woman is after your wallet, but we have to earn about like 3 times more than what our grandfathers had to do in their time in order to meet someone that we find as a good, suitable match for us. Your face value is like a resume. What you portray on the outside surface is how people are going to perceive you. And although leveling up and aiming for the sky is not a bad thing, most people just want to assess based off of the tip of the iceberg. It's sad because I'm sure, many guys out there, we're all different, right? Guys, some of us are nerdy, some of us are jocks, some of us are just socially awkward, but we're good people. There's something inside that a lot of people aren't going to be willing to look past. I'll say the same for our ladies as well. I'm sure you might meet a gal that, at face value, she doesn't have those things that you feel like in your mind, like, this is what I want. But if you look past the tip of the iceberg, there's so much more depth to people, and we just shrug it off. It's really sad. Tying back to how hookup culture has definitely grown in recent years, it leads to, the big thing here, which is the purpose of marriage and family just doesn't exist. It's not the same anymore. No one dates with the intention of marriage in mind. We've conditioned our brain to accept that if something doesn't work, it can be replaced. Think of how high the divorce rate is. We live in a time where we're told that you accumulate this list of numbers, these potentials, you enjoy your life while you're young, and, if stuff doesn't work, replace it. That's what we're told. That has transpired into dating, heavily so. People used to make stuff work back then. It's so convenient for everyone to just jump ship nowadays. Back in the day, we used to have a courtship system. It wasn't dating, it was actually courting someone. You would go to their parents, ask for permission to see them, to get to know them with everyone's involvement in the process. And that was a beautiful thing. I'm gonna share a story about myself. I actually met my wife through courtship, and I met my wife's family the same day that I met her. Of course, we talked on the phone at first. When we got to know each other, we wanted to see if there was a level of compatibility. We shared a few phone calls, got to know each other. We ultimately opened up that door, like, let's get the families together, let's get to know each other. But we didn't drag out that process. We didn't go behind the scenes and try to accelerate things on our end, because that's one problem, right? Everybody wants to do the fun stuff. You want to meet a girl, you want to, go on those dates, you want to get physical, all these things. Everybody loves that part. But that's not what's going to carry on the relationship. No one likes to sit down and focus on the things that are like compatibility, the stuff that's actually going to matter, the stuff that you're going to deal with in person on a day-to-day. No one brings that up at first. Everybody has this mindset of, Oh, how good's our chemistry? Let's see how good we're gonna click, and then we'll worry about the rest later. So yeah, with me and my wife, our families met together. I got to know her. I asked permission to get to know her, and stuff worked out great for us. But we kept all the important things at the forefront. We had like a list of questions that we wanted to get to know about each other, how we feel about certain things before we ended up going to the later stages, such as getting married, focusing on all the fun stuff later. The romance, the charm, all of that. It came later. It came in due time, and I'm so glad that we went about it that way because we had purpose in mind when we approached each other. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people nowadays unfortunately lack. But cultural values have shifted and expectations have shifted. Let me ask you a question. What is the role of a man and a woman in a relationship? Yeah, you have to sit there and ponder on it a little bit. I figured. I brought that up with my wife. We talked about, what's the role of a man in a relationship? How do things change when kids come into the mix? Who's going to provide? Who's expected to do stuff like cooking, cleaning, and stuff like that? And every relationship's going to be different, okay? You have to find what works out for you. Unfortunately, there's so much brainwashing. We're getting fed so much of this crap of, hey girls, you gotta live this way, or hey guys, this is how you gotta view women. It's just distorted everything. Since nowadays both people work, it can make it hard for people to have time for each other. I've read plenty of stories of people where, both people in the relationship are on that hustle and grind mindset, and they don't even end up having time for each other. It's sad that the idea of a housewife is looked down upon for some reason. I don't mean to get into the whole feminism thing, but it's a fact. There's nothing wrong with being a housewife. If you establish those expectations early on, your relationship will evolve accordingly because it's not going to stay the same way. You're going to adapt, you're going to evolve. One day you might be working, one day you might be out of work. Everything else that fits in between the cracks regarding your partner is just going to facilitate and supplement how you live and vice versa. You know what else sucks? This whole gender role thing. I'm gonna have to say it. There's no longer two genders out there, according to the masses it seems. And I'll let you sit with that one. It affects dating. And I guess we have to be a little bit more conscious of putting ourselves out there and navigating this new space that we have where people are wanting to identify as whatever they choose to identify as. And the approach has just become digital now. There's too many apps to choose from. I think that's naturally the first place where people's mind gravitates towards is let's go on the apps. A lot of people don't reach out in person or attend events and try to network and find people that way. It's all a digital game. It's all about, how many swipes you get, how many times you get swiped on, and there's so many apps to choose from. There's too much texting and not enough in person. What I want you to do, and this helped me a lot, is for the guys out there that are just getting to know somebody, if you're talking to her and you're in the early stages, initiate that phone call. Take it to that step where there's more of an in-person interaction. Relying too much on text, it's just generic. In regards to the digital age, we can't disregard how social media has portrayed everything. It's just messing up everyone's perception of what dating should be like. We look at these examples of people online and we think, oh hey, you know what? That's what's ideal. We're chasing this thing that doesn't exist and trying to model our approach based off of what they're doing. We don't have a sense of figuring stuff out on our own. There's this set of guidelines that we need to follow based on social media, and it distorts stuff, and it sucks. So with all these struggles in mind, I think a big thing that I've started to notice, and through people that I know personally, Passport Bros is becoming an attractive option. Honestly, when you weigh out all these issues that are coming with dating, and I don't even need to dive into many things here. I'm sure anybody that's watching this can agree on a lot of these points and see that the game has changed. And men are looking outside the country to find their partners. Heck, even the girls are doing this. Going to another country to find someone to spend your life with. You know what's interesting? You're going to actually find old school traditions when you step outside of the country. As someone who essentially travels for a living, I travel a lot. It's honestly refreshing to see this. You step outside of this bubble that we call the United States of America, and you see these different cultures, you see different values still being upheld. It's really refreshing. If finding someone who is not a US native works out for you, please go ahead. I know plenty of people personally who have made this work. they're happy, they have kids, a family. Don't limit yourself. What are your guys' thoughts? Have you given up on dating in the US? Have you been able to find your partner without compromising your own values? Please share. I'd love to hear everybody's experience. And I hope and pray that, stuff gets easier for the young guys out there, and dating is a tough space to navigate, and just figured I'd share my piece on that. Hope you all enjoyed this quick video. I'm enjoying drifting the old school Camaro today. This is actually my dream car, second gen Camaro. God willing, can't wait to get my hands on one someday. These things are gorgeous. It's a little tricky. I think I've been exclusively drifting the JDM and the German cars in this game, but there's potential. There's definitely potential here with the muscle cars. Thank you all for watching that video. My name is Sam Sagar, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.